At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast is now on YouTube. Go on YouTube and search Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast and click that subscribe button to never miss an episode.
Hi, howdy, hello, and welcome to the latest and greatest edition of Every Pokemon Episode Ever. And on tonight's episode, we will be discussing episode number 681, episode number 28 in the Black and White series, which is entitled Oshawott's Lost Scalchop. An episode so full of action and humor, you will be shell-shocked. And to bring on the Japanese translation, and as well as introducing my broadcast partner, it's the man with the PhD from these streets, Professor Chris G. How you doing, man?
I am swell, bro. How are you doing?
I am fine if it didn't take me 15 tries to do that intro.
To give you credit, though, bro, it was only because I switched my name. If I didn't switch my name, you would have had that shit down.
Yeah, because I was trying my absolute damnedest to do, because you're like, oh, I want to switch up my nickname because we're not a wrestling podcast. And I was like, all right, fine, I don't have a problem with that. Well, somebody had a problem with it.
So yeah, bro. My new nickname, I'm sure you've been hearing it elsewhere, which we will get into in just a second. But my new nickname, as of this podcast on the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast, is now Professor Chris G.
Oh, don't tell me I got the name of the show wrong.
No.
Okay.
No, you're good. But yes, I will give you the Japanese translation to today's episode. Today's episode translated from Japanese is The Lost Hotachi, Mijumaru's Greatest Crisis.
Yes, I've decided I'm not doing that. I will be having those over. Just as I was sitting down here, I was like, I'm not doing the Japanese translations. He can do those. He seems to enjoy those.
Yes, I do. I do quite enjoy those. But how have you been doing, bro?
I'm okay. I'm good. It's hard to believe but we might actually be getting ready for some fall weather.
For real, finally. I mean, you wouldn't know it walking outside today.
Oh my God, dude, it's ridiculous. Like, I shouldn't be sweating. I shouldn't be sweating this much on September 20th.
I know. I walked out. It was like 91 degrees. I was like, really? Yet I'm seeing leaves falling off of trees. And I'm like, I was like, this does not match up at all. I can still go in my backyard and jump in my pool if I want to.
Yeah, they're not falling. They're trying to escape.
Yeah. But yeah, on my end, I'm doing good, bro. I'm just good. I'm chilling like a villain over here. I'm sitting down. I'm in my office. Things are great in the personal life. But I mean, I know people have been listening to it, but I mean, right now as it stands, I am a day early. So tomorrow, as of this recording, we are dropping the very first manga portion of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast, a podcast short that people are getting on the free feed weekly. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, by the time you hear this episode, if you go on Patreon, the full first volume should be out on Patreon by now. So all 14 chapters. So I'm hoping I'm doing my math right. I believe so, because I believe this episode drops sometime in November on the free feed. So
have we hit Thanksgiving yet?
No. I think this is
okay.
I believe this episode is the second week of November, if I'm
okay.
So I think we have 2 more episodes left before we hit Thanksgiving.
Gotcha.
And
it's crazy.
For real. But yeah, the full first volume, all 14 chapters, should be on the Patreon feed. So go, if you have not yet checked those out on Patreon. It's different than the version that you are getting on the free feed, because it's one big file for every 4 chapters. So every 4 chapters, I just combine what I've done, and it's like I didn't skip a beat. So you're listening to every, let's see, 4, 6, 8, 12. Well, and then if I did it this way, the last 2 episodes are probably going to be bunched into one of the other ones. I don't know. But by now, all 14, however I put them out, is on Patreon right now. I had to do a little math. I was like, well, 4 doesn't really go into 14. So
no, not evenly.
No. So, but yeah, we are doing episode 28 of Black and White today, and it's an okay episode. There's some funny jokes that we're going to be going over here today.
Kind of a low stakes episode.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
It is. I mean, I do like the consistent joke of Ash messing up the trainer's name that he's fighting against. I did get a kick out of that. And but this was kind of a throwaway episode. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a lot more fun to review it than it was to just sit down and watch it. But I watched 18 minutes of a Pokemon trying to find its shell, and Ash putting it through intensive training that we're going to be going which don't even get me started. But in Pokemon Japanese news, Ash is in the finals. Ash has finally made it to the finals as of this recording, to face Leon, or Dande as he is named in Japanese, to face Leon in the finals. And I'm sure we're not getting those episodes for like another 3 weeks, because they previewed the next episode, and the next episode is not the finals. So I'm sure we're on another. Of course not, because I mean, the semifinal match with Ash was freaking 3 parts in a row, but Ash won. Spoiler alert, I guess I should say, because I'm sure here in the U.S. that episode still has not dropped, because I think we have 2 seasons left of Netflix drops before we actually get to these master episodes of the tournament. So
Jesus,
yeah, they're behind, but they're playing catch up here in the States. I think they wait until a certain amount of episodes have been released, and then they drop they put a dump of it on Netflix.
It's like trying to watch Raw on Hulu.
Yeah, and it's really annoying. I wish they had a better deal, because there's so many streaming services out there, and I think And I'm sure it has everything to do with like ads and stuff, even though the versions that I watch have no ads and no commercials. But they could easily put Pokemon out. Like the Japanese versions can come out the same time that the English versions come out. I mean, we're at that point now where technology is like you can literally transfer everything at the click of a switch. You can send files encrypted over the internet to be voiced over and all of that. So I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the tail end of 2022, going to be 2023. I mean, for goodness sakes. Like you said, the technology's there if they were motivated enough.
Yeah. Let me see. I can tell you right now. Okay, semifinals. Huh. Oh, they better update this. According to Wikipedia, which is a great source, everybody, for getting all your stuff. But according to this, we only have 2 episodes left, and neither one of these have the final in it.
Are they seriously going to stretch it into the next season?
Well, the next episode is Go for Dream, Go's Road to Mew, and then the next episode after that is still an episode for Go. It's called Go and Aceburn, The Place of Beginning. So we might get this stretched over to the next. Yeah, we might get this switched over to the next season. How many episodes have we gotten so far? I can count this now. We have 1, 2, 3. Actually, I mean, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we've gotten 13 episodes for this season for the championship tournaments right now. But I don't know. I guess, I mean, I will find out in a couple of weeks because I at least know we have 2 weeks of no tournament talk. So
there you go.
So I can't wait for them to get into it. But looking at this schedule, yeah, they okay, so that's what they're going to do. So it looks like every 4 to 5 months they are dropping episodes. So we have March, September, July. I'm curious right before we get into this episode. When is the next Pokemon on Netflix? I'm very curious. All right. It is Arceus, September 23rd. Oh, in 3 days.
3 days.
So we got that, but when does the when is the new season of Pokemon come out? Like I want to know when. Let's see. It says May, which we're past that. Fuck. So, I mean, according to this, I mean, we're due. The last season that dropped in May. So, we're due within the next month or so for the next drop for season 25. So, we will see. We will see. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we're getting the conclusion to this championship in this season.
Doesn't sound like it.
It really doesn't. So, but all right, are you ready to jump on into this week's episode, bruh?
I believe so.
All right. All right, let's go ahead and start this. All right, so we start, and the trainer immediately, first line out of the gate. My name is Stefan, and I'm ready for a Pokemon battle. So he tells Ash his name, Stefan. And he's like, my journey's just begun, but I'm ready to have a Pokemon battle. And Ash is like, I'm ready to battle. And Ash immediately butchers his name. He's like, what? Let's see, what does he call him?
Because the guy's name is Stefan. He goes, "It sounds like a plan, Stefan."
Oh yeah,
and he immediately is like, "Oh, but no."
It's Stefan. It's not Stefan. And then the trainer Stefan throws out Blitzel, his electric. I guess what is it? It says it's
like a dark version of. I mean, it's not, but the oversimplified version of this is a dark version of Ponyta, essentially.
Yeah, for real. So, yeah, it's like an electric horse, everybody. And Iris immediately goes, Ash could use a grass type like Snivy to go into this battle, or an electric type like Pikachu to go electric against electric. And who does he choose? He's like, Pikachu, are you ready? And then all of a sudden, Oshawott jumps out of his Pokeball uncalled. He's like, Oshawott. And he pushes Pikachu back, and he's like, I got this. He's like, I'm ready. He's like, wait a minute, you want to battle Oshawott? And Oshawott's like, yup. And he's like, you've got your Scalchop. So he's like, all right, then I choose you, Oshawott. And
he had a choice.
For real. And then that's where we go straight into the title card. And Doug, I'm going to have you take it from here, my brother.
I would love to, but my player decided to crap out on me.
Okay, I got you.
Hold on. No, I'm back. It restarted where I crapped out.
Okay.
Which is handy. Yeah, so we get the title sequence, which still don't like it, don't care for it. There is a fucking skip intro button.
Yes, there is. Where are you watching?
It is. I don't want to give it any publicity because it's being shitty.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It just crapped out on me again.
I got you, bro. I got you. So right after the title sequence, Stefan is sitting here and he's like, you're going to use a water type against my electric type? Are you stupid? He's like, man, you are selling me short. He's like, but a win is a win. I'm going to mop the floor with you, Blitzel Shockwave. And Blitzel does its shockwave attack, and Oshawott takes its shell off of its chest and blocks the electric attack and shocks the mess out of Stefan and his Blitzel. And Iris is sitting there, she's like, how did Oshawott deflect that shockwave? She's like, that was a perfect Scalchop deflection. And it's not an episode if Silent is not using a food pun. He's like, it's much like a fine cuisine. Make it well seasoned. So Oshawott is standing here at attention. He's like, that didn't work, but we've got lots more moves. Flame charge, Blitzel. And Blitzel does his flame charge and starts running. And he's like, Ash is like, Aqua Jet. And freaking he goes straight into its water move, but Oshawott still hasn't mastered this Aqua Jet yet. And it flies towards Blitzel and then away from Blitzel and then up into the air. Blitzel's just staring in shock and Oshawott's going everywhere. He's like, aim, aim. And then Oshawott goes and flies right over and hits his head right at a rock and just almost knocks itself out. And Oshawott is like, oh man, I'm dizzy. I hurt my head. Ow, 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 ow. Are you good over there, bro?
I am, and I have a question, and I'm going back a ways, but I'm curious, and you're a little bit more up on current Pokemon than I am.
Yes.
So Blitzel's Pokédex description was that it was like it's an electric horse.
Basically, yes.
I'm fine with that. Where they lost me was electric horse using flame charge.
Oh, yes. a lot of this has happened. So do you, and it's kind of fucked, but I'm going to give you an example. You remember Rhyhorn, right?
Uh-huh.
Back in the day, weak against water moves, all this good stuff. And later on, generations on, it can use its drill to spin so fast that it gets an electric current and it can shoot out electricity from its drill. So, I mean, this one, I guess, has some type of fire capabilities. I can't really tell you how it does it. Maybe it charges up its electricity so much that it becomes fire and it can just do it. Because it's not a fire type Pokemon by no means.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like fiery electric pony or a electric pony with fiery tendencies. It was just electric horse. It's just flame charge, like it's just everyday move. And I was a little caught off guard when I first watched this episode, and I didn't know if you would have any insight, and you did, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, so certain Pokemon can use other type moves, I guess, if trained well. And you'll find that out too. Like ghost Pokemon later on can use fire attacks as well. Like Ash's Gengar can use certain flame attacks. So I guess it really depends on the Pokemon. And when they went to the Alola region as well, some of the Pokemon over there can use different moves depending on its environment as well.
Okay, but see, I get that.
Yes,
I get like adapting to your environment. It's kind of like the pink Pokemon, because all they were eating were those berries. I get that. I understand. But yeah, it was just like, oh, by the way, this electric horse can use flame moves. It's like, oh, fun.
you're like more things to study up on.
Yeah. Make a note to ask Chris about this one.
All right. So do you want to go? So Oshawott just hit its head and it's dizzy, Doug. If you're at that spot, and we can go ahead and continue this episode.
And pardon me, take another drink because Silent mentions somebody not following the recipe.
Yes.
And for no reason, just I keep telling him and he doesn't listen, but knowing food is not a personality trait. So Stefan and Blitzel are confused, but Ash is not deterred. He tells Oshawott to use Shell Blade, and he knocks it back, and he's getting ready to strike, and Stefan tells Blitzel to use Double Kick, and Blitzel comes in and knocks the shell clean out of Oshawott's hand.
Poor Oshawott.
Far off into the distance, and judging by where it landed and the little glimmer on the screen, it goes about halfway up that mountain in the distance, and Oshawott just goes absolute hell for leather, running towards that mountain like he doesn't care about the battle, he doesn't care about Ash, he doesn't care about Pikachu. I gotta get my Scalchop.
And not a care in the world, just ran away from everybody. I don't care about any of y'all. I'm not battling anymore until I get this Scalchop back.
Scalchop is gone. The battle doesn't matter for nothing.
Oh man.
And so Ash is kind of sitting there with his Peter in his hand. He goes, "Where are you going, Oshawott?" And Oshawott doesn't even look back, and Stefan goes, "Well, that to me, that's about as clear of a forfeit as I'm going to get." And
yeah, and freaking Silent has enough nerve to go, well, we can continue this battle when he comes back if you really want to. And Stefan is basically like, well, I guess whatever. I guess we could pause this battle until he gets back, which is kind of bullshit, because I mean, he ran off the field. Like, if this was a sanctioned fight, if he ran off the grid, I mean, he loses. And Oshawott is like 3 football fields away off the field by now. So he should have easily lost.
He's gone. Oshawott's. Yeah, like Ash didn't get like an emergency sub when Charizard refused to battle.
Yeah, for real. So,
but I guess because it is kind of an informal thing, it was just kind of. I mean, we didn't even see them bumping into each other. I mean, the episode literally just started with Stefan saying what his name was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad they don't take. So I'm gonna bring out something because I mean I have a little bit more. It's a little bit more recent, but with me reading these mangas, so in the first volume that I'm reading right now, Doug, Red actually helped Misty recapture her Gyarados. So, yeah. So, which indicated that another trainer, because her Gyarados was stolen by Team Rocket. So they stole her Gyarados.
They got one.
What's up?
They actually got one. Team Rocket actually did something.
Oh yeah. Like in the manga, Team Rockets are some bad MFs. Which, by the way, everybody, with me reading these mangas, I made it kid friendly. So tell your kids that they can actually listen to this. Otherwise, the cursing will stay on this podcast, just not on the one man show. So I did make those kid friendly. What was I gonna say? But yeah, they kidnapped Gyarados, and then they got rid of Gyarados after they were done with it, but it was in an enraged state because they were experimenting on it. And Misty was having a problem getting it, and Red just happened to walk over while she's getting attacked by her Gyarados, and Red was able to battle Gyarados, weaken it, and throw his very own Pokeball over at Gyarados to capture it, and then was able to give it back to Misty.
Oh wait, but he captured it.
Yeah, but it's
his Gyarados.
No, it was Misty's. He was going to keep it, but she admittedly said that was my Gyarados and it was stolen from me by some people, and I don't know who stole it, even though we find out later on that it was Team Rocket. So, but yeah, I'm glad they don't go by that logic here on this, because Oshawott just ran away, and if some other trainer wanted to capture that Oshawott, according to the manga, all they got to do is throw a Pokeball, and they probably would. They would probably catch little Oshawott, because Oshawott's in a state of frantic right now because he wants his Scalchop back.
They would not have caught that Oshawott. That Oshawott wasn't stopping for. He would run through a wall.
You think so?
I have no doubt. He wouldn't stop running unless a random trainer happened to hit the Scalchop. Then he might get tricked into it, but it wouldn't be like, "Hey, forget that Scalchop, come here." He'd be like, "No, I'm getting a Scalchop."
Yeah. So, all right, back to the show, everyone. So after Stefan is all down and out, he's like, all right, I'll be down here when you guys get back. You guys will know where to find me. And we go to the next scene, and we see Oshawott running towards some tall grass, and he sees a shiny item on the floor. So Oshawott makes its way over towards it, and when it gets over there, it's a shiny bottle cap. So Oshawott picks it up, and he's like, gosh darn it. And he picks up the bottle cap, and then he tosses it at the ground. And then the wind starts to blow, and Oshawott just seems so defeated. And then at this point, Ash and Pikachu are running up right behind it, and they're like, "No luck finding your Scalchop? Well, you can't just run away, but we'll help you find it." And Oshawott's like, "Oh, you will? You will?" So we go to another scene where we're literally seeing Ash and Oshawott just looking through all sorts of tall grass, just here and there, just skipping, not skipping a beat. And Ash, and then we finally get another close up, and Ash sees something shiny in the grass, and Ash is like, "Oh, I think that's it." And Oshawott's like, "Oh my God, you found it!" And it runs over, and it finds a Joltik, which is a electric tick Pokemon. And Oshawott should have known better, but Oshawott takes the tick, puts it on its belly, and Joltik is just like, "Why are you doing this? I was just chilling over here, and now you have disturbed me, so I'm going to shock you." And it like does like a thunder shock, and it's if anyone knows what a regular tick is, it's hard to get those suckers off once they clamp onto you. But
unintended,
yeah. But Oshawott,
that's a pun, by the way, not what you tried to put on Twitter.
Why? What was the one I put on Twitter was a pun?
It's a coincidence. That's not a pun.
So Oshawott tries to flick it off, but it can't flick it off, and the tick latches onto its belly and just starts giving it a non-stop thunder shock as Oshawott is running back and forth to the point where Pikachu has to use Iron Tail to whip off Joltik from the belly. And Joltik is like, "Ah." And this is when we get the Pokédex entry. It's like, Joltik, the attaching Pokemon. Joltik clings to a larger Pokemon and absorbs static electricity, storing the energy in its special pouch. And they're like, "Oh, it's called a Joltik." And Joltik just runs away, and Oshawott just seems all sorts of defeated at this point. And Ash is like, "All right, we'll keep looking for your Scalchop. Don't worry." And then here comes Iris and Silent. Doug?
Yeah, so, they got a big up old Oshawott, and they're, obviously it's Silent and Iris's turn to say, "Hey, have you found it yet?" And if they found it, would they be sitting there with Oshawott looking that upset? Context clues, people. And he's like, "Hey, what happened to that trainer?" And we told him to go on his business. We'll find him when it's time. And Silent is like, "Well, I mean, listen, if we don't find it, Oshawott's just gonna have to cope." And Oshawott's like, "Oh, son of a gun, I guess he's right." And Iris has a bolt of idea, and she's like, "I've got it. You don't even do it. I figured it out. It's fine." And her and Axew take off,
but Iris ends up getting a bright idea of a piece of fruit.
Right. And it's not a bad idea.
It's a terrible idea because as soon as it gets thundershocked or anything, that thing is going to fry.
Yeah, but that's tasty.
No, because what happens after it uses it once? I mean, at least the shell can be used multiple times, no matter what. If it gets hit, and then maybe if it gets broken, you can go to a beach and find another shell, but not a fruit.
But if the fruit gets shocked, it gets cooked, and that's tasty.
So
you might only be able to use it once, but you get a snack out of it.
Yeah, I guess. But Oshawott sits here, and it's like, okay, fine, I would try the fruit out. And you want to go over this funny exchange, bro, of the fruit and Pikachu?
So Oshawott's, kind of trying to swing the fruit like his Scalchop, and he's like, it just doesn't. He's like, it seems to swing the same, and Pikachu's like, God damn it. Ash is like, "Oh, Pikachu could test it out with a Thunder Shock," and Oshawott's like, "All right, bet." And
Actually, I'm gonna. It was a thunderbolt. Pikachu wasn't nice enough to give a little thunder shock. He gave a thunderbolt as this attack. Freaking ass.
And Oshawott holds up the fruit, and it's looking like it's gonna hold, and then, like you predicted, that fruit split right down the middle. Oshawott was left unprotected and took that thunderbolt square in the face, and I stand corrected because that fruit is not eatable or edible or
edible. What do you mean? It looks like my smoked sausage this morning.
If you're eating smoked sausage like that, you need to reconsider things.
No, I put it in the air fryer for 5 minutes too long and walked away from the air fryer and went back over to it. And when I opened it, my stuff was like a little bit extra crispy. I mean, it was still edible. I still ate that some bee, but it was a little extra crispy for my taste. And I love me some smoked sausage in the morning.
Yeah, no, I feel that. So, and maybe we're off base because Silent, Iris, and Axew each have a piece of this fruit. And Iris makes the comment of, well, it's a nice smoky flavor, and Silent's like, well, it's too sour to eat when it's raw, but when you scorch it, like he says cook, but it's blackened. And he's like, when you cook it like this, it takes on a mellow flavor. So I mean, like I say, maybe we're off base, but I don't think I would eat something if it was that charred.
I know. And Ash is sitting there. He's like, will you guys stop eating and get serious? I mean, he needs to find his scallop. This isn't working. Somebody come over here and help him find his scallop. Well, Ash, why don't you go and help him find it, or go and find your local beach around the area because you're good at finding those, because I know you have a surfboard in that backpack, and go and get him a different one.
I don't know how he has a surfboard in his backpack.
Well, I mean, he had one in that episode when he was training for the Pokemon League.
Training. And poor Oshawott's just like, gosh darn it. I didn't really like the fruit idea, but I was kind of hoping that first idea would work. And Silent's like, well, now it's my turn. And he shows Oshawott his serving dome.
Yes.
And he's like, it's perfectly polished. It'll be fantastic.
And freaking Silent's an asshole for doing this. He's the oldest one in this group. He just wanted to see Oshawott get fried again. That's all. He wanted to see Oshawott just get hurt. I mean, really, a metal thing for electricity? Well,
and even Oshawott holds it up and he's like, I don't know about this.
And Silent's like, no, go ahead. This will be fun. Go ahead. Do it.
It'll be funny. And, another thunderbolt, and this one there's not even a second of resistance. It's just, it's literally a lightning rod to poor Oshawott, and the screams of Oshawott is just horrible stuff. And he comes away and he's completely fried.
And Iris is like, you guys are idiots. That thing is metal, which is what I'm saying. Like, how is Iris the one that knows best between?
She's a girl. And guys in cartoons are stupid.
Yes, for real. Jesus. Like,
yeah.
But All right. But yeah, he's completely fried, falls on his back, and then Silent's more worried about his serving dome. He's like, it's blacker than the night sky. And Iris is like, oh, that's what polish is made for. And Ash is like, man, we gotta figure this out. Come on. And this is when Silent throws out his Dwebble, and he's like, could you carve a shield out of a rock? And then Dwebble just goes and starts doing its thing on a rock. And he does it on the biggest rock that is there. And this shell that he carves up is bigger than...
as big as he...
Yeah, if not bigger than Oshawott. I think it's taller lengthwise than Oshawott is. And Oshawott... And Ash has enough nerve to sit here and go, well, maybe if we train, you'll be able to hold this thing up. Like, Ash, come on. Just shows his 10-year-old little mind that he has here.
And you hit the nail on the head a couple minutes ago when you said just go to the beach and find another shell.
Yeah. I mean, Oshawott's already okay with replacing it if it's a good replacement. Like, at this point, just go to the freaking beach or tell them that you'll be at a beach in a couple of days and just let them just sit and hit Pokeball for the next couple of days.
Just chill, because like you said, I don't think it's that specific shell. I just think Oshawott's gotten used to working with a shell and, trying to use a frickin' cooking dome or a piece of fruit.
Yeah. And luckily, Pokeballs don't hold weight. Like, once you capture something, there's just a generalized weight to the Pokeball, because you put that on your waist as you're going on your journey. If the Pokeball would hold weight to it, man, I would be telling Oshawott, all right, Oshawott, this ain't gonna work. You're gonna have to put this rock down.
we're gonna have to find something else.
Yeah, for real.
So they're out there testing the rock's durability, and because it is a rock, it's working.
Yes.
And Ash is like, all right, and you could just see the amount of strain that Oshawott is putting out trying to lift this rock. Like, he's as red as Ash's cap. Perfect. And Ash is like, all right, but that shield's looking awesome. And
but he knocks himself out.
Because he just can't hold it. And we do a fade, and Oshawott is laying under the shade of a tree, and Pikachu's giving him the old fanning treatment, trying to bring him back around. And Ash is like, well, maybe Oshawott really does need that Scalchop. Maybe we just can't make random objects into his shield.
Maybe not.
And then Iris throws another truth bomb in and is like, maybe Oshawott depends too much on its Scalchop. And
is it Scalchop or Scout?
Well, see, the episode says, I thought the episode said Scallop.
Okay.
But I think maybe I was making up, maybe I inserted Scallop because that makes sense.
I hear you, bro. I hear you.
And I don't know what a Scalchop. But anyway, so Iris is like, well, maybe this Scallop is a crutch, and poor Oshawott's sitting there in the shade twitching. People are sitting there talking about him like he ain't sitting right there, and Oshawott sits up. And, that's when he hears Ash say, it's not just the fact that it's a tool, it's important to Oshawott. And Oshawott's like, it is, man, it is. And this is when Silence basically like, well, they say the best defense is a good offense, and
this is where Ash gets the bright idea. Well, maybe you'll be able to use this rock if we go and train. So what does he do? We get a whole Rocky montage of them just So
that's a pun.
Yes, it is. So
that might be the funniest thing you've ever said.
I don't know what that's supposed to say. But Ash and Oshawott are doing like a nice little workout, and they put the big rock down, and they're doing sit-ups, and they're running up hills, and Pikachu's over here. And every single one of these, Pikachu's like, I'm not going to work out, but I will cheer you on. Because in every one of these screen grabs, Pikachu's like, Pika, Pika, Pika. And Ash is doing push-ups. They're running up hills. They're doing sit-ups. And freaking Ash, I want to pop Ash in the back of the head, because Oshawott has this big rock on its back while it's doing a push-up. Ash put this rock on this Pokemon's back and is like, do a push-up. And then after the push-up goes, all right, let's test how much strength you have now, knowing that muscle doesn't happen within like 30 minutes. And
doesn't.
Nope. And
damn.
And Pikachu and tells Pikachu, all right, we've been working out for like 30 minutes. Pikachu send a thunderbolt his way, and freaking hits the Scalchop, and Oshawott just gets deflected back, and he's like, no, I'm gonna get this. And then Pikachu's like, thunderbolt again, boom, and then he goes rolling again. He's like, no, I'm gonna get it this time. And Pikachu goes, I'm gonna hit him again, and then freaking Oshawott is just getting deflected back, and Silas basically alluding to Ash was only working out for like 20-30 minutes, and he's wanting Oshawott to have all this muscle and power already, and he's like, man, it you can't rush a recipe, you gotta let it simmer. There's my own food pun right there.
And that's a pun. That's a pun.
So,
but yeah, I mean, we're back, and poor Oshawott's under the tree again, and Iris is like, well, it looks like Oshawott's done, and Ash is like, I'll show you who's done, and he's like, just a little bit more, and Oshawott stands up and he's like, fuck. Fantastic freeze frames on this episode, and Ash is like, I know how tough you are, Oshawott, and
then that's when we go to the Who's That Pokemon.
I mean, one thing I will appreciate about this episode is it's funny, like I said in the open, and it's been a minute since I watched it in preparation to do the review. I forgot just how much of this episode was actually eaten up by like the training montage.
Yes. Like I said, we got the full Rocky thing. Like they put as much on here as they could without running over on time.
Right.
They're like, oh, we don't got to do that much voiceover. Just put some music in and just have them work out.
And thankfully, the Who's That Pokemon was Blitzel.
Because he's in this episode. Yay!
I guess you could be forgiven for forgetting it because that was 12 minutes ago. And, we're back, and it's nighttime, and Oshawott is sitting by a creek by himself, and he's reflecting on the moment that I take it back. He's in a battle with Blitzel, and Blitzel's about to use an electric move, and Oshawott holds out his Scalchop, and it disappears.
Yep, out of nowhere. Could you imagine?
Well, I mean, we've all had that dream where, we're going to school and we're naked or whatever.
I almost got naked at school one time by accident. I was so dead tired. Did I ever tell you that story when I was at my locker?
Oh God, yeah.
So, to tell our audience, so I was so tired. I just hadn't gotten any sleep, and I got to school and I'm half asleep, everybody. And I got over to my locker and I opened my locker, and for some reason, as soon as I opened my locker, I started unbuttoning my pants like I was about to take my pants off, get into my boxers, and lay down and go to sleep. But as soon as I unbuttoned, I realized what I was doing, and I was like, "Oh shit, I can't! I'm at school." But that is how tired I was, everybody.
I mean, we've all had moments of doing something half asleep or whatever. I mean, there's an infamous baseball play where this guy's running to first and he slides to beat the play, which conventional wisdom says you don't slide into first, you run through the bag, you get through it faster. But that's not the podcast you're here for. And he gets up and he's dusting his pants off, and all of a sudden he just pulls them down, and first base coach goes, "Dude, what are you doing?" He pulls him back up. He goes, "Oh shit."
Oh shit! I've never seen that clip.
I don't know. I think the guy's name is Steve Sachs. That's SAX. And I think if you YouTube it, I think it'll be like in the first couple of results. But so yeah, Oshawott gets hit with the move in his fantasy, and it kind of shocks him awake, and he's like, oh god, that was awful. I don't want that. And he looks down in the water, and he's so fixated on his Scalchop that the moon transforms, and he has this brief moment of and it goes back, and he's like, oh, it's like getting punched in the gut just over and over.
I felt so bad for him.
This poor Pokemon's being tormented.
For real.
And he looks up and he hears Ash's voice in his head saying, I know how tough you are. And he's like, I am tough. And Pikachu and Ash must have woken up and realized that Oshawott wasn't around, because they're standing in a clearing calling for him.
Yeah, Ash alludes to, he's like Oshawott hasn't even eaten. And that's not like him. And they're just calling for him.
And then that's when we realize that Ash is a mouse who has, a little bit more sensitive hearing, because all of a sudden his ears just go up and start twitching. And he takes off running, and they find Oshawott in a clearing doing push-ups on his... So how did he get the shell on his back?
Maybe it wasn't Ash that put that shell on his back. So I apologize to Ash, and I give him all the praise, because maybe it was Oshawott that wanted the damn shell on its back.
Yeah, but Ash could have at least put Pikachu on his back in solidarity or something.
Yeah, for real.
So, we see that he's actually doing some pretty decent push-ups, and
freaking Ash distracts him and gets him just hurt right before his battle.
Freaking kid, man. And
you don't distract a man when he's on a bench press. You just don't do it.
It's like when you're spotting for a guy in the gym and a pretty girl and or guy walks by and you're like, oh, damn. And you just forget and the weight's on the guy's neck like, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Thought you were down there.
But Ash picks up Oshawott and tells him that he's awesome, and then they start training again, and we get another nighttime Rocky montage. Like, yeah,
it's the same sequence.
Yeah, the exact same one, but it's nighttime now. And where's Pikachu? Pikachu is on the sideline going, "You can do it! You can do it! You can do it!" and we go straight back to the Thunderbolt segment. But this time, Oshawott gets the shell up and deflects all of the Thunderbolt attacks. And freaking Pikachu, just do Thunder Shock. Like, don't try to hurt your compadre. Just go and do a Thunder Shock, not a Thunderbolt. But he was
exactly. You're on the same team, for goodness sakes.
But Oshawott's so happy, and he's just ready. And then it's morning time. And they're standing around. Oshawott has strapped the big rock onto its back using some string. And Iris is like, I don't think that's really a good idea, Ash. And Ash is like, don't worry about it. Oshawott's got it. He's been up all night training. And he's like, right, Oshawott? Right. And he's like, where's the other trainer? He said he was staying near here. He's like, Ash is like, yeah, well, in that case, let's go look for him. So they just start walking, and they come up to a camp, and there they see Stefan with its exercising gear, getting electricity on this bike that has some type of like electrical current meter thing on it, and he's shooting electricity over to Blitzel to charge its, what would you call that? Its horn, Doug?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't know what else I would call it.
So yeah, to charge its horn on its head, and Ash is like, whoa! And Stefan's like, hi, Ash. It's finally time to rock and roll, Stefan. He's like, what do you do? Or no, he says Stefan. He's like, the name is Stefan, but whatever.
No, it's even better than that. He goes, it's still Stefan, but it's okay.
And then they look at the machine, and Iris is like, this is a manually powered electrical generator. Oh no, this is what Stefan is saying. And he's like, I built this. He's like, I use it to recharge Blitzel. And they're like, oh, I see. And Blitzel is over in the corner. It's looking all sorts of nice and ready because it's all supercharged by the electricity. And he's like, yep, Blitzel's really powered up. I figured I'd head over since I didn't see you, but it looks like you came all this way. So let's save the trouble and finish yesterday's battle right here. And Ash is like, sure thing. And this is where Blitzel and Oshawott are getting ready to battle. And Blitzel looks over at Oshawott and is like, I'm going to beat you for real this time. And Oshawott's like, yeah, maybe.
You might.
Doug?
And that's when Ash goes, you got this, Oshawott. And, we trained at night. What did we train for? And Oshawott's like, all right, bet. And they get ready, and they're standing, and Oshawott is standing. He's in like warrior pose, and he's got his hand on the the rock shell, and he's like, all right, come on. And Stefan's like, it's time to show everyone your powered up moves. And Blitzel's like, all right. And Stefan's got the first move, and he sends out a shockwave, and Oshawott heaves the shell, and it's completely neutralized. And Stefan's like, what was that? And Simon's like, boy, Oshawott sure has improved with that rock. And I was like, no shit, you weren't sitting there at 12:30 while they were doing push-ups and sit-ups.
Looking like my son right before karate practice.
Yeah. Except I hope you're not putting a boulder on his back.
Don't tell me how to raise my child. No, of course not. I put a table on his back.
I put a table on his back. What do you think this is? And
next Karate Kid.
There you go. Iris is like, boy, that special training must be paying off. And Stefan's like, we might not be the only ones that powered up. And he's like, yeah, but you haven't seen what's up my sleeve. And Stefan tells Blitzel to use full power on his shockwave. And Blitzel charges up and sends everything over to the rock shell, and Oshawott's standing there, and you can see the intensity of the blast on Iris's and Silent's face. That's much more intense, and you can hear Oshawott straining against the power, and freaking Ash goes, "Hang in there!" It's like, what the fuck?
What do you think he's gonna do? You think he's gonna just walk away from the battle?
Like he's just gonna put it down and go, well, I wasn't expecting full power. And he's hanging in there, and the shockwave dissipates, and you see a crack start to form in the rock, and it's just...
Stefan notices this and tells Blitzel to go and kick it.
He sends him over, and he sends him out to do another double kick, and the rock just shatters.
Boom.
And I think Silent's more upset that the shell that his Dwebble made didn't stand up. He's like, damn it.
For real. And this kind of also takes me up back to a recent manga episode. Bro, let me tell you something that happened. So Ash was fighting one of the trainers right before he got up to Brock. I mean, not Ash, Red was fighting one of the trainers right before he got up to Brock, and told his Polyworld to use Ice Beam, and then attacked the Ice Beam, and the Graveler broke into 1,000,000 pieces.
Oh.
Yeah. He killed that I don't think that Graveler stood a chance. I don't know how they put it back together or what, but he shattered that Graveler. And it reminded me, because as soon as I saw the rock just break right now, I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of like Graveler in the manga."
Like, I've seen that somewhere before.
Yes.
And so the shell just goes into multiple pieces, and the freeze frame that I have on it, Oshawott's just looking at it. He's just stunned. He's just in disbelief. And we go to commercial, and Stefan's telling Blitzel to use another shockwave, and like Iris said a few minutes ago, one more electric move and that might be it. And Blitzel lets the shockwave go, and Oshawott picks up a piece of that rock, and he tries, his damnedest, but he just gets completely nailed, and he he gets sent back, and he tumbles, and he slides on his belly, and they're like, oh. And, Stefan's basically over there peeing himself, and he's like, you can't deflect our powered-up shockwave with a little pebble. And Oshawott is using all the training of getting knocked down the hill and
getting back up.
And Ash is like, now what? We had all this plan around the shell, and now the shell's in a gravel. And
it's at this point, freaking Blitzel, he tells Blitzel to use Shockwave again, and to try to hit Oshawott, and Oshawott's just dodging, just dodge, 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 and then go straight in for a tackle and nails it right in the face. And Silent's like, man, look at that strength. And then goes in for another tackle. And then we see a small montage of Blitzel just getting hit by the tackle 2 more times. And Blitzel's getting knocked down, but he gets back up. And Ash wants to use another attack that involves the Scalchop, but he can't because Oshawott doesn't have his Scalchop. So he's like, man, maybe I just go in for another Aqua Jet, but that's risky. And then freaking Stefan says, double kick again. Double kick just goes right in. Oshawott dodges it, and Stefan says multiple flame charge. And then he just goes in and just boom, boom, boom. And this horse is just moving from side to side to side to side. And the rate of this freaking Blitzel is just insane how fast it is. But Blitzel corners it over by a tree. And then Stefan's like, there's nowhere to run. Finish it. Flame charge. And Oshawott goes for broke and does its Aqua Jet and does boom, and then they're going head to head, and Oshawott deflects. It goes another way again, and freaking Blitzel is running at the same speed as Oshawott's Aqua Jet, and then they combine.
This is the damnedest scene I think I've seen in a while in Pokemon, because I mean Oshawott's got the Aqua Jet going, and Blitzel's got the Flame Charge. This is like a scene out of Ben-Hur, but it's in Pokemon, and the attacks are just they're merging like in the chariot scene where they're crashing into each other going down the final turn, and
for real.
And Ash is like, you can do it. Stefan's like, let's win this, Blitzel. And they come together in this mass of water and fire, and they come to the final rock, and they collide, and it's smoke, and then you get a big screen of everybody going, oh, and Oshawott goes flying, and Blitzel goes flying. As soon as Blitzel lands, you see that he's got the knocked out eyes, and
yeah,
Stefan says, "Get up!" And it's like, dude, how many matches have you been in? When those eyes hit, it's over.
He said he's a brand new Pokemon trainer, though, so we have to give him a benefit of the doubt.
No, everybody knows what those eyes mean, and Oshawott's putting one last ounce of strength in, and he stands up, and he's huffing and puffing, and Silent steps in because he's, I guess he's an ex-gym leader. I guess he's at the authority. He's like, Blitzel's unable to battle, and Ash picks up Oshawott and is like, that was awesome, you're the best, never mind all my other Pokemon and Pikachu who's right there. Oshawott's like, all right, cool, bet, this is awesome. And Stefan calls Blitzel back, and he does, he congratulates him and says, thank you for the battle, get a good rest, and goes over to Ash, and great battle,
and it's at this point that they exchange handshakes. They talk about the battle, and Stefan wants to battle Ash when he gets better and stronger. Don't hold your breath on that, because that ain't never going to happen. But out of nowhere, Axu comes running out of a bush, and guess what he's holding, Doug? He's holding Oshawott's Scalchop. And Stylin's like, what's going on? And Axu's running over to hand it over to Oshawott. Oshawott gets it back. He's happy because we have to end this episode on a happy note. And Oshawott puts it on. And that's basically the episode because Oshawott is, now that he has his shell back, he can sleep. And he's
exhausted.
All that training that Ash just put it through. And he is knocked out like a baby. And Oshawott is, as he's sleeping, just rubbing that Scalchop. And that is how we end this week's episode. As they continue to Nimbasa City for Ash's next gym battle. So,
question.
What's up?
Did they miss an opportunity not having Oshawott evolve here?
Maybe, but Oshawott, I if I remember right, because I've seen episodes past this, but I can't 100% remember because it's been so long.
Right.
I believe Oshawott gets his own special episode to evolve. I believe so.
Okay.
So we will see in the coming months, I guess we can say.
Yeah, I feel like, but then I'm thinking about it. Maybe it would have cheapened it if Oshawott goes through all of this just to become another Pokemon. So I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm just watching the show.
We don't write this shit. So, but yeah, it was a good episode. What would you give this out of 5 stars, Doug?
You know what? And this might be unpopular and whatever. I'm confident enough to give this a 4.
Okay.
I enjoyed the episode. You made a comment before we started recording. You're like, I just watched a man and a Pokemon search for a Scalchop for 18 minutes.
Yes.
I think I'm going to enjoy reviewing it more than I did watching it. And I think you're right. And I think I have to factor that in. Because I enjoyed reviewing the episode. Enjoyed the episode because it didn't lose track of itself. They didn't feel the need to shoehorn Team Rocket in for like 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm confident giving this a 4. I mean, maybe if we had a gym battle or an evolution, maybe it would have gotten that extra 0.5, but
okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll back you up with that. This was a nice 4-star episode. A lot happened. We seemed to laugh a lot while we were reviewing it, which is always a plus, and we have fun doing it. So that was it. It's time for me to give out this week's Evolving Skies Pokemon Pack code, everybody. And your code this week is HWRRYZL6TLMDT. And that is your Pokemon trading card code this week. And Doug, what card am I getting ready to look at energy-wise?
Do I have a shot at this?
It doesn't have to do with this week's episode.
Okay. So I'm going to say Psychic.
You are 100% right. All right, bro.
Let's go.
So we got a Psychic Energy and then a Treasure Energy trainer card and then a Digging Gloves trainer card. Then I got a Palpitoad, a Mareep, a Zora, a Tentacool, a Hoppip, a Denio. My reverse holo is a Victini, and my rare is a non-holo Militant. So a dud pack, but I do like Victini anytime that I can get it. So that is this week's cards. So yeah, good stuff. You have anything else to add this week, Doug?
No, I don't believe I do. Just another fun episode in the can.
Absolutely. So if you haven't already, right before I have Doug say his goodbye, go and take a look at our catalog for the Pokemon Adventures mini podcast episodes that drops every Wednesday morning for all of you here on the free feed, and then drops in bulk on Patreon. Go on patreon.com/everypokemon and subscribe there if you have not already subscribed. And then other than that, these regular episodes will still be landing when they do every Friday morning for you. And I think that's about it. So go ahead and say goodbye, Doug.
Bye, Doug.
And this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you I will see you next week for another episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. Have a good night, everybody.